Hey Bulldogs, Mr. Russell here, and this week's lesson and next week's lesson are very much the same skills, except this week's lesson is going to be a little simpler. I am sending you with a template, and so you'll see here that we have a bulldog with some sunglasses on, and you'll see that we have the Rincon logo or Rincon text here. And to be honest with you, let me come over here and click on my style. I'm going to make this, well, you'll see in just a minute. But we're going to wrestle with getting the letters to become vector shapes. And then we're going to take those and we're going to meld them and bend those using nodes. We're going to make those shapes turn into a contour that kind of goes with the sunglasses. Going to be a really cool way to make a logo for our school. And then at the very end, we're going to throw a text path in where we kind of go Rincon and then middle school. And so that's kind of where we're going to go today. We're going to create, and I'm going to send you each of you a template that has already layers already in it. And the only thing you're going to have to do is take these shapes and kind of mess with the nodes and bring the nodes exactly where you want them. I will tell you, I've been wrestling a little bit and trying to figure out why some paths, some vector paths, will turn the nodes on, and then why some don't. And so we're gonna, if you run into those kind of problems, I would say make sure that you've gotten rid of all your apps that are running in the background, and you're going to want to make sure that you save this file so that when you open it again, it's already named. And of course, we always name things with the name of the artwork and your name attached. So without further ado, let's get into this. The first thing I want to do is what you should do is go through and go to your share square. And we're going to create a Vectornator project file. And so we're going to create the file. And mine says Bulldog Sunglasses Template. And I'm going to rename it Bulldog Sunglasses and David Russell. Now, you should go through and take a minute and export your file as Bulldog Sunglasses with your first and last name on there. Okay? I'm going to hit done. And it's going to say, where do you want to save it? And I'll say Vectornator project files, and I'm going to hit save. And that way, if I do have to close the file, I can go back and reopen it again, and it will be in my Vectornator gallery. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to come to my path menu, and it says here, create outlines from text. And there we go. I've made that. And so I'm going to bring this over here. And you'll notice that I've kind of got a space between the rin and the Rincon, right? And the reason we're going to do that is I want to have RIN on the left side of the sunglasses and CON on the, I'm sorry, I think you know what I'm saying. Rin on the left and con on the right. And so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start by grabbing this guy. And I'm going to drag him over here. Oop, Command Z. But I forgot. I've got to do one thing. It's all about the layers, right, guys? So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select all these guys. And I'm going to go Command X. I'm going to come over to my layers. And I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to make this my grouped. I'm going to call this Rincon grouped, okay? Rincon grouped, and there we go. And I'm going to lock up my bulldog. I'm going to lock up that middle layer, and I'm just going to work on this. I'm going to go Command V, and there it is right there. I'll make sure that I send you guys this template. As a matter of fact, excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make that template right now for you guys. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to I'm going to make duplicity here. I'm going to make a file, and I'm going to say, I'm going to call this student template. So come over here, Bulldog Sunglasses, student template. Okay, I'm gonna go hit done, and I'm gonna make sure I'm going to project files, and I'm gonna save, because I wanna make sure that I've got this. And then I think I'm gonna make an SVG as well, because sometimes it just works out best that way as well. So I'm gonna go to my share square, I'm gonna export it as an SVG, and make sure that I've got this Bulldogs template. Yeah, that works. I'm gonna make it responsive as always, as you should as well. And I'm gonna hit save, and it's gonna say, where do you wanna save it? And I'll say, I'm gonna save it over here to my SVG files, hit save, and I'm gonna keep both. Yep, I'm gonna keep both. All right, now let's go ahead and go back. So the first thing I wanna do is I wanna mess with that R, okay? But to be honest with you, I might actually mess with the I, because that'll kind of give me a position where I can, let me get rid of my share square. There we go. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select my I, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to do the I because, Command Z. I'm going to take the I because I want to, what's going on here? Because I want to bring it just right over here in the middle, but I'm going to zoom in with my 2 fingers, and I'm going to have to resize this a little bit. And I kind of want it to like tilt just a little bit to kind of meld with the sunglasses. And now I'm going to go into node tools, and I want there to be a rim to the sunglasses, but I also want, so I want to keep a healthy kind of a round looking rim, and that's going to be kind of up to you guys on how you accomplish that. But I want this line right here to also kind of be following a contour of the sunglasses. And you'll see what I mean as we go further along. So again, we are working with the eye right now, and I'm going to try to keep that about the same. And this is going to be a whimsical design, which I love whimsical stuff. So here we go. Let's see. My touch is, that little touch place is kind of getting in the way of that, which I might go and turn that off. Why not? So I can always stop showing touches. That'll help me as I'm doing my work as well. And let me get rid of my gear. There we go. Let's see if this works better. Okay, so my I is in there. Now I'm going to come up and I'm going to grab my R. Now, when I was preparing for this lesson, this was eluding me. The R was driving me nuts. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to go ahead and try to get the R to kind of turn around a little bit, kind of get it to, there we go, line up with the I. And we're going to really kind of mess with this R. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on, yeah, that's exactly what it was doing for me too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I think what the issue is I think that it doesn't like this little shape inside there. So, oh, there it is. There we go. Don't know how that worked, but it did. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to bring this node all the way down here. And I'm going to bring this node out here. Now, sometimes it's possible for us to have too many nodes. I know, right? Too many nodes, right? But you're going to find that sometimes less is more. And I don't know if you guys can hear my neighbor's dog next door. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big dog fan. But I am not a fan of just letting them bark all day long. But, all right. So I'm going to take some time, and I'm going to work with this R while I have the nodes. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, the R is a little tricky, so I'm going to ask you to click on it, click off on it. But I'm going to take a minute and not make you watch me completely do this R, but I'm going to make the R conform to the sunglasses. So here we go. Fast forward. All right, so roughly done with the R. I really could do more, but for the sake of keeping this video kind of short, let's go work with the in next, okay? So I'm gonna come back up here, and Mr. Russell's already, I know you guys hate when I refer to myself in third. I've already third person, so I'll try to avoid that. But I've already gone through for this template, and I've created these outlines for you guys on the text. So it shouldn't be, oops, Command Z. It shouldn't be that hard. Oops, Command Z. I don't know why it's doing that, but there we go. Bring that over. So it shouldn't be as hard for some of you to be able to kind of get into this this lesson. But I'm going to go ahead, and so I think you see where we're going with this. We're going to make Rincon spell out across the sunglasses in sort of a whimsical fashion. And so I'm going to go work on the in next, and I'm going to let you just kind of watch how that happens. So let's work on the in. Here we go. So I'm not totally stoked on the end. That's okay, but let's keep working with it. So now we're gonna go for the C, and you'll notice that sometimes you can't quite get to something, so you're gonna want to zoom in to it so that you can get to it. And I'm gonna see if I'm gonna have I think I'm gonna have that C totally just, and there's a lot of nodes in there. Oh my goodness. I'm probably gonna have to delete a good number of those. And so this might not, I did another one of these as I was preparing for this lesson. I did another one of these earlier, and it sort of was able to, I was able to get it to balance out more. So we're probably gonna have a really big O and a really big N on the right side of the sunglasses. This will be up for you guys to kind of figure out how you want to make it on your artwork. But let's see how the C goes. I'm liking that. That's not too bad. Okay, now, next thing we're going to pull out is the O, right? And so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to select the O and bring him over down here. And I'm going to go back to my selection tool. I'm going to tilt him just a little bit. Cool. And let's see what happens with the O. Here we go. So one thing I forgot to mention is I am using a mouse for this, okay? And what's really helpful about using a mouse and using a lightning dongle is one of these guys that kind of plugs into your iPad. And one is power and one is the mouse. You can see the mouse right here. $10, Amazon. Makes it so much easier. And so I do a lot of drawing with this. You could use a stylus or a passive stylus. That works as well. But we're almost done. Let's go grab an N and throw it into the sunglasses and try to close this lesson up as soon as possible, okay? All right, let's keep going. So I'm gonna scroll out. I'm gonna bring this in right back into the mix here. Again, I'm gonna tilt it just a little bit. And there we go, looking good. I am really kind of stoked on how this is looking. So let's have some fun with the end. So I'm going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to mess with that O just a little bit. I feel like I need a little more of I don't know. I just feel like that O needs something. So I spend a lot of time working with this when it comes to these. When it comes to the various types of nodes, I really like working with these asymmetric nodes, to be honest with you. And I'm going to do some more of that. I like this because it really gives me the opportunity to round these corners over a little bit more. And I like the way that looks. I hope you guys really have a good time with this. I am really excited for how this looks. What's really neat about this is this totally works on a t-shirt. It works in all sorts of different ways. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put a text path on here of a circle that kind of goes around. And for my font, because I'm probably going to send this to a Cricut cutter, is I'm going to put a big old circle in there. So I'm going to come over here to the layers, and I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to call this upper font, and then I'm going to create another layer that says, of course, if there's an upper font, then there's going to be a lower font, right? Lower font. And very cool. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make sure that everything I've done so far is locked. Good. Happy about that. And for my upper font, I'm going to put a circle here in the mix. And you know what? My fill, I can't see my bulldog. So I'm going to make my fill blinded. Because I want to be able to see what I'm doing with this bad boy. So I'm going to bring him, oops, there's my... And I like how my guidelines are working for me. And I kind of like the way that's looking. And now I'm going to add some text in there. And the text that I'm using is going to be impact. And we're going to call this, we're going to write in Rincon. And I'm going, since I'm making it go around a circle, I'm going to make the kerning, I'm going to separate it a little bit. So that when I do, because when I put the text on the path, it's, oops, come here. Let's go fix bound, there we go. So when I go to send this to the path, the bottoms of the letters are gonna kind of like, they're gonna want to come closer together. And so I like to take the kerning and do that. I'm gonna bring my Rincon above that dog right there. And then one of my other favorite things to do is to try to multitask a little bit. And so I'm going to go Command Copy, and it's Command C, and I'm going to come back over to my layers, and I'm going to lock up my upper font, and I'm going to go back to my lower font. I'm going to click on that, and now I'm going to go Command V, okay, and see if that works. Let me click on my Command V. There we go. And you'll see that everything's kind of highlighted there. So I'm going to come over to my paths, and I'm going to click on reverse. And I'm going to click on reverse. Is it working? I don't think it's working. Let me see what happens. What's happening there? Nothing's happening there. So let's do it the old-fashioned way. Again, so let's make sure our layers are locked up the way we want them to. Good. Now we're going to work on lower font, and I'll come to my shapes, and I'm going to get that right there, and I'm going to make a circle, and I'm going to hold one finger on there to get that symmetric circle going for me and working. And of course it's a black circle. I can't see through it. So I'm going to blind my fill and come back over to my selection, and I'm going to just go ahead, and now it's time for me to put middle school on there. So I'm going to come over here to text, and I'm going to put a text box down there that says middle school. Oops. Shift C-O. I can spell school, and I'm going to center my text. Boom, right there. And then I'm going to select both text and circle, and you'll know that you got it right where you want it that way. I'm selecting both those guys, and come to my path, place text on path. Boom, there we go. And let's click reverse, and now it puts it in the circle, right? But you know what I forgot to do? I'm going to go Command Z, is I forgot to mess with my kerning. So Command Z, And let me come back over here to my text. I forgot to mess with the kerning a little bit. So I'm gonna stretch those guys out, because once I do put it on a circle, they're gonna kind of scrunch much closer together. There we go. I think that'll look good. Okay, and then let's try it again. Let's see what happens. Go to my path, place text on a path, go reverse. Those guys are still touching. Goodness gracious. No social distancing, no respect for the social distancing. Command Z, let's mess with this a little bit more. And let's do this. It could be my shape too. My shape could, maybe I can go into an oval here. Let's mess with the oval and see what happens there. I just don't like the way it looks, you know? So I'm gonna do that. And then I think I'm still gonna mess with this stuff. Mess with this kerning, tracking. What is the tracking? Ooh, tracking might be the way to go. I'm always learning as we go on this stuff. Okay, let's see what happens now. Path. Text on path. I think it's going to look much better. I don't know why. I've just got a feeling. Nope, still there. Goodness gracious. But you know what? For the sake of for the sake of time for you guys, let's call it good for right now. So that's kind of what we want to do. Now, there's one last thing you want to do, because one thing that we've learned more recently is that when you're dealing with text and you export it, it's going to give you problems unless you create outlines. So we're going to click on this and we're going to create outlines. And the reason we do that is that all of a sudden now that text is a vector shape. Okay, let me go click on my upper font, lock that bad boy up, unlock him. I'm going to click on that font right there and my path, and now I'm going to create outlines there. So that when we want to do that, because it's gonna you want it to export properly. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna come to my share square. The two formats that I'm looking for from you is JPEG and SVG. Okay, and so we're gonna go ahead and export, and we're gonna make sure it's that way. And Mr. Russell is a big fan of doing fairly large exports, so we do about 1200 on that. The page size, let me rewind a little bit. The page size should be 12 inches by 12 inches, okay? When you set up your project. And then we need to make sure, I gotta make sure always make sure that you name your files, okay?
And now for an episode of what bugs Mr. Russell the most.
For the love of Pete, name your files!
Thanks for watching what bugs Mr. Russell the most.
So Dave Russell, I can spell my name. I did go to college. I did pass. Oh, did I put a Z in there? All right. I'm refiguring out how to spell my name. I'm gonna hit save. It's gonna say, where do you want to save it, dude? And I'm gonna click on JPEG folder, which I've already made. And then that's done. And then the next thing I need to do is I need to export it as an SVG. So here we go. I'm going to make it responsive. Always make your stuff responsive, because we could put this on a t-shirt or we could blow it up and put it on a billboard. So you always want to do that. And of course, need to make sure our name's in it again. I can't tell you how many times Mr. Russell sees a student without their file being named. And I'm going to start, I'm probably going to start in trimester 3, probably going to start rejecting those files if students don't name their files. It's going to say, where do you want to save it? I'm going to say save to files, because I want to know where I'm saving it. And I think I'm creating a JPEG this time, so I'm going to hit save. No, was that it? Was that a JPEG? Nope, it's an SVG. Shoot, I put it in the wrong place. I stayed up late watching TV last night, and this is what you get. Let's click save again. Let's save it to the right place. We're going to click SVG files. Beautiful. Done. All right, cool. And that's looking good. Okay, so this project was fairly simple. Next week, we're going to be creating a Rincon logo that we put on a California flag. And so I think I sent you guys a little teaser video about that. I really think this is a fun project. I hope you do too. I hope this kind of opens your eyes to all sorts of fun that you can have. All right, I'm out. God bless. Thanks for watching. Bye now.